Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're at question number 198. I need to get to the right slide here for a second. So the point of these videos is for you to feel prepared for your DevOps answer interview. So when you walk in, you feel confident that you've studied the best you could. To that end, I have come up with 15 most important topics that you should be studying. And then on each topic, I'm trying to go as deep and wide as possible so that you get a full flavor of all the questions that you could possibly get. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It's nothing free, but it actually makes a huge difference in my channel. So I would really appreciate if you did do that. Okay, question number 128. Before I get to there, you may know from my other videos that I did some research on LinkedIn job descriptions and came up with these 15 topics. The ones at the top are more important than the ones at the bottom. The ones at the bottom are also not ignorable. You do have to study them, but not as much as the first 5 or 6 topics. So make sure to spend as much time as possible at the top ones and sometimes on the ones at the bottom. Today, we're at number 11, Kubernetes. Now, I don't know why the data suggests this is number 11. Really, it should be number 5 or 6 in my opinion, based on my experience. Kubernetes is used by almost any DevOps team these days, and the chances are very, very high that you're going to get asked about Kubernetes on a DevOps interview. Okay, the question today is outline the steps to deploy a new scheduler on a Kubernetes cluster that is not a GK default scheduler, right? That's the question. Here, this a little bit kind of advanced question, if you will, because normally it's not something you do. There has to be a really good reason for you to come up with a new scheduler besides the one that Kubernetes provides. But the idea here, the interviewer is looking for is your knowledge that it is not a fixed thing that you can schedule your pods using a scheduler that fits your purpose. Although kind of rare for that to happen, but it is possible. That's really what the interviewer is looking for here. Quick reminder to use my career advisor. I'm not financially affiliated with him. It is not an ad, but he's very passionate to help people. So please sign up for his 1 hour free session. Okay, so first of all, what is scheduler? Scheduler is also basically a container, a deployment, right? A service that runs in a Kubernetes cluster by default, because whenever you tell Kubernetes cluster, hey, go ahead and run this pod, go ahead and run this deployment, right? It figures out which node is going to get how many containers and whatnot, right? If one container dies, this scheduler program figures out where to put the new container in, for whatever that is, right? So it's a service that runs, right? So now, normally 99% of the cases that the default one is fine. So if we had to do one, how would you go about doing that? That's the question. So what you do is you again, it's still a program, it's still an application, it's still a service. So you make a container image with the program that you have that is going to be your new scheduler. You put that in a registry, a container registry, and then you create a deployment file just like any other. You use your YAML file, make a deployment, and the component type has to be called scheduler. Then it knows that this is what needs to be scheduled. Now, this is a default service kind of deployment, so it's going to go into the namespace called kube system. It will not run on the namespace where you run your production cluster. It will become part of the Kubernetes cluster system. That's why it needs to run in the kube system cluster, kube system namespace. If you ever do run kubectl commands, if you run, by default you don't see them in these things running because they're not part of the default namespace. But if you actually do -n kube system, you will see all these pods that run by default to actually make the cluster work, right? And once you have the YAML file ready to go, as anything else for Kubernetes, you just run apply -f using the YAML file, and then the scheduler gets deployed just like any other pod, except for it runs in the kube system namespace. All right, I hope you found this useful. If you have further questions, please find me on LinkedIn or just leave a comment below, and I will try it as much as possible as time permits to help you out. I hope this was useful, and I will see you in the next one.